Hi everybody, how you doing? You know, these days everybody's looking for non-toxic ways to achieve different jewelry making techniques. And one thing a lot of people like to do who use metal, they like to antique it. Of course, you can do it with chemicals and it comes out great, but some of them are really stinky, some of them burn your skin, and some of them are not so good to be breathing. You know, then you have disposal issues and all that. So I'm not saying it don't work, but isn't it better if we can find something simple that probably already have in our workshop already to do it? I say yes, let's do it. So one way to do that, non-toxic way, is to use black and brown paint to just do a regular patina. Of course, it has its own look, but I'll tell you, it's not my idea. People for years have done this in jewelry making, and buddy, I'll tell you what, it works. So come on over here and I'll show you how to do it. And while you're stepping on over, don't forget to subscribe and like my channel, because that means the world to me. It really does. So come on over, let me show you how to do this. Okay, so you can see I'm hard at it here, you know, antiquing my my brass out, and of course I'm using paint. I'm using markers and Sharpie pens, and I am using acrylic non-toxic paint that you can buy anywhere, even a dollar store. You know, it's so easy to find black paint. But I like to mix it up a little bit. I like to mix it up with black and brown. I'm sorry, my hands look really bad, but that's the way it is. So you can see here I started one out. This is not really done yet. You might think it is, but it's not. Far from it. It takes a little time to get it how you just want it. No two ever turn out the same, of course. But you can see it started like this.
Ooh.
Bright. Very bright. Of course, it's degreased, but I'm going to wipe it off one more time too, because I'm going to take you from this to this. Okay? And then I'm going to show you where you can go from there. Okay? Are you ready? Are you ready to do it?
Yeah.
Sure you are.
I'm ready.
Hubby's ready. Well, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, let me just move her over, because she needs some work up. But, you know, you can see it's all down in there, you know. Definitely looks like it's got some stuff going on. So here's the way I'm going to start now. I like to use these dealios. These little cheapy foam brushes, because you can throw them out when they're done. Of course, this is acrylic, so if you don't want to throw them out, you don't have to. You can just, you know, wash them really good. But I prefer to throw them out because it costs like 10 cents. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm going to get some on the end of my thing here, my brush, and I'm just going to start kind of sponging her down with the black. I do like to relieve my black a little bit with brown, and this one I didn't get enough brown in it, so I like to go over it with brown again, because it just kind of gives it a certain depth that just looks so old and antique-y. Now here's some little trick you can do. You can take the side of the brush and start to wipe it off, because that's what you want to do. That's what gets it down in the cracks and crevices, is when with the wipe off situation.
It's pretty much like a buffer.
Yeah, kind of. So, you know, you got like a two-in-one tool, you know? You just kind of go around, you know, till it's starting to look like you want to. Now, you might like to just leave it at this point and have it still very golden and just, you know, the low lights in there, and that would be fine. In fact, I kind of like that myself, really, right now. But I want to show you how to get a little bit dark, okay? So now, I have an acrylic paint pen for my brown, because I forgot to bring my little bottle of burnt sienna from the other side of the workshop over here. Burnt sienna is a good color if you're going to buy some, so if you get burnt sienna. If you can't, a nice solid brown like this color. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. Kind of like poop brown.
Like a reddish brown. I didn't see poop.
I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I just get a little giddy. Excuse me if that offended you. I didn't mean to. I just can't help myself. You know, the older you get, the more you just say, I am who I am, and I don't worry about it. But anyway, I should. Okay, so now, sorry. Anyway, I don't know what made me do that. Oh well. That's what makes it fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people do that. Okay, so I got a little bit on it. I don't want to load the whole thing up because with this you kind of have to work a little bit at a time. And then I want to kind of spread it into the brown, blackish stuff. So it's not all, one. So you can see I've kind of got a little bit of different tones going on there. So here's my black one. I'll put a little bit more black into there. And I'm just going to keep going back over it, back over it, and back over it till I like it. Till I like it. Because that's the whole deal with this. You do it until you think it's good enough for you. Okay? Till it's got your look to it. And that's what makes it so individualized for you, because you can actually create your own technique for doing this, and you don't have to share it, like I do. You can keep it all to yourself, and it could be your own secret technique for getting color on there, and you don't have to tell anybody. And you would not be the first to do that. Now, I'll tell you a little bit of story. Back in the first earliest days of the 1928 Jewelry Company, when Mr. Burney and his cousin Richard were just trying to find their way, what they wanted to do with the jewelry, they had a friend, and his name was Archie. I believe it was Archie, yeah. And Archie helped his father-in-law run a really big bead shop in Los Angeles. And one day, Richard and Mel were in there looking around, see what kind of chain and stuff they had. And Archie heard him talking, and he came running out. He says, "Hey, you guys, what are you doing?" And he wanted to know all about it. He said, "Well, I'll tell you something about this chain right now." He says, "You don't have to get this plated." And they're like, "What? We don't?" I said, "No. You can if you're trying to make it look old and antique, what you can do is you can just lacquer it by hand." And they're like, "What?" "Yeah, come over here. I'll show you how to do it. It's so simple you won't believe it." So Archie showed them how to do their first finish that they ever did. And it was really something like what I'm doing. Only he used a big old paintbrush. He put everything down on a towel, used a big old paintbrush, and then he painted the chain real heavy. And then they waited like half a second or whatever, not a second, but like 30 seconds or so. And they went back and started, wiping it off really hard with the towels and just getting it into the cracks and crevices, but not leaving it all on there. And it was a very similar to what I'm doing here, guys. Very, very similar to this. Very, very similar to this. And when they first took that jewelry out to show it professionally, like they took it to Providence to show some people and some other things when they went for some of their first shows, they ever went over there. And people couldn't, what'd you do to this stuff? I've never seen a finish like that, because everything over there was old school, and they did everything a certain tried and true way, and they didn't try new things so much. They do now, but not back then. So, for the longest time, they had this cool finish, and they wouldn't tell anybody. It was kind of their secret. So, like, you can develop your own finish. You wouldn't be the first person to ever do something like this, of course, but it's your own secret formula. Like, you could change it up and get different colors of black and different colors of markers and add a little gold or bronze to it or whatever, and you could just really make it all your own. And as you can tell by looking at this is much different. This is coming up much different than this one. And that's just it. You can play with it till you get it how you want it, And you can save your samples, and you can write down underneath them, and this is what I did on this one. And then you can just play with it till you come up with your own very special way of doing it. And people will be wondering, how did you get that color on there? I never knew people that could make a color like that, And pretty soon, there you go, So now, I kind of like it like that. It's got a little bit too much down in here. You can see, you can scratch off your nail at this point because it's not sealed, of course. So I'm going to take this over it, my nail buffing. You could take the steel wool too, but if you do that, you might get too much off of it. So it's better to just proceed with caution, and I find this helps you to do that. So wherever it's too much, like sometimes like it gets up in here in her arm too much, on this one. I've done this one a lot of times before. I've done this one so many ways. I've done it with torch. I've done it with chemicals. I've used liver sulfur on it. I've used swell again on it. So many different ways. But I tell you, I like the freedom paint gives you, because even though you get it all over yourself, it's easy to get off because it's acrylic and it's non-toxic. It's not going to make you sick. you know. And I'm all for that, using stuff in your workplace that's not going to make you sick, because sadly too much of the stuff that works, like the really good glues and stuff like that, they are toxic, but they're what works, you know. So anything that you can use in your art, you know, that's not toxic, you know, to back that off a little bit is a good thing. Okay, so I'm kind of liking her like that. I don't know, you guys. She has a little bit too much antique on her yet, but I think I'm going to let this set up a little bit, and then I'll go in there with an itty bitty little piece of steel wool, teeny tiny, and just get in there and go like that, and I'll clean that up really nice. But I mean, you can even take your finger and kind of polish it out, buff it out. There's a piece of rag. You know what else works really good? If you have an old piece of denim, like from an old piece of jeans or something, denim is a great buff rag. Wonderful buff rag. So you got an old piece of denim that you can save for your buff rag. You know, that is a cool thing to use. But you can see how this is raising it too, just paper towel, you know. Some paper towel, leaving some brown down there. I'm kind of liking that. See, I like them both, but I think I like to see a little bit more brown. But there are places on it, like right here, I don't like all that on there. So I want to get that off. So I need to use the buff and get most of that off, or at least kind of dull it down a little bit. Another thing I can do is I can get a little water and work over there, because, you know, it's acrylic paint and it's not sealed yet. So there, that's good. So I'm liking that. Okay, so I got these both here. This one here needs to have a lot of it removed in here. I got most of it here, but just to show you what I would probably do going from here. For me right now, this is pretty much done. I just buff it out a little bit more, but I want to add a little color, kind of like this piece that I did. I did this piece on, what was it, Sunday, when we had our video. Okay, you can see it started out like that too. I haven't colorized the back of it. Like this one, this is spray painted. That is just black spray paint, black matte spray paint, just like that going over, just kind of diagonally. That's it. Cut one swath, and that's it. So a lot of the brass is still showing up under there. So that gives me a little of the black on there, and then I can go from there. So you can use spray paint too. And I use a little bit on the back to make it look old. So this would be finished for me, except that I want to soften the edges a little bit with my steel wool, and I want to seal it with the matte spray. But anyway, that's how this one started. I love how this came out. All it needs is to have a hole here, and one right down in here to hang something, and then you're ready to make a necklace out of it, of course. But if you put it on your wrist, you could, you know, bend it a little bit to fit, put it, you know, attach it to a cuff underneath there. You could make a lotus flower, hand flower bracelet, put down to your finger ring and attach it. Probably put a hole here, hole here, hole here, hole here. Have to try it sometime. Might be fun, huh? It's showy too. It's very showy. So anyway, the difference for me for this one and this one is a little bit darker, of course, which I might have to work on that a little bit yet. But I just wanted to show you real quick how I can get some color into this and really make it look nice, okay? Even though it's not perfect yet, the reason is because it's something you have to work at, you know? You have to keep working on it. I had a green pen in here too someplace. Oh, well, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to paint. I don't know if you noticed, but there are, you know, little flowers in here. So I thought it'd be nice to add a little color over there. So I'm going to do that. So I'm using a paintbrush pen that I found in the dollar store. And I got to tell you something, guys. I think it's about the best one I ever found. And it was a whole set of them. It has a little bit of a mica sheen to it. A whole set of them. It was $3. And of course, when I went back, they didn't have any more. And they've never had them again. So phooey on that. And I haven't been very successful yet trying to figure out who made them. They're made in China. But if I had the name of the company, I still might be able to find them. But I haven't yet. So phooey on that. But I am continuing to look because these are the best. I mean, they have a lot of control, as you can see. You know, I can get in all the places I want them to be. So I'm making a little blue forget-me-nots there. Now, that's a little brighter than I want it to be, so I'm going to take and I'm going to wipe this back a little bit and let more of the integrity of the metal show through, see, like that. Alrighty, so where did I put the lid? You always want to put that lid back on it. Alright, so now I want to add a little bit of green in here somewhere. Maybe I'll do it a little bit in there, a little bit in here. And you know, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this or not, so, because it's a little bit Actually, this is not green. This is not the green one. This is gold. Duh. Oh, that's okay. I'll just see how far I get with it and see if I like it. If not, I'll scrub it right off. That's what I'll do. Okay, so now I'm gonna get on it quick so it doesn't set up too much. That's the whole trick. Don't like walk away and go make coffee or something like that. Because when you come back, it'll be set up pretty well, and you'll have a lot more trouble, you know, scrubbing it back. And you won't like that. You'll not be happy. I want you to be happy. Okay, yeah, I've got a little bit of removal stuff to do yet, but you can see how I want to add some color to it. And it's going to be really pretty. Maybe if I take some of this green, you can see what I had intended a little bit more. Cover that up a little bit. Put a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit going down there. I want to get it on our arm because people aren't green, at least they're not supposed to be. I'm just going to add a little bit, you know, color here and there. Just add a little bit here and there. Even I could go down along the edge. That sometimes is a pretty look. Now, before I get too far with it, I'm just going to take my finger and go over it and see if I get a nice shabby kind of chippy look to it. And kind of buff it out a little bit. I like that, except it took too much off there. So, you know, it's just, you play with it and you get what you want from it. Anyway, so you can see where I'm going with it and how to do it basically. Basically, it's developing your own style and your own look with it. And like I said, you could make several of them and you could put them on a piece of poster board or something like that. Put it on a cork board in your studio to save your recipes with it, to go back and work with it a little bit and see till you get your perfect look with it. But this one for me is just about right. This one that I did yesterday, I see a little bit of touch up in here I could do, but this one's just about right, because what I like about it is the antiquing is light enough that it lets all the integrity of the metal stamping show through, and you see every little detail. And for me, that's key. Just a little bit light. This is a little bit dark for me, but you know, there's ways to deal with it, and you might like it that way too. So anyway, go give it a try. Get some brass stampings and give it a try. And by the way, if you like antique looking brass stampings, we have them at Beast Boutiques. We have a lot of them. You would look into the figural stampings, raw brass. You want raw brass. You can do stuff on brass ox too. It's not bad. And also on the matte black, you can do it. You know, but it's really best on the raw brass. So we have lots of it there. So don't forget, subscribe and like, because we're going to have a lot of great stuff coming up and you don't want to miss any of it. So I hope I'll see you back next time, and thanks for tuning in today. Bye bye.